everyone, it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel. Today is another Growing in Unity video on my channel here. I'll be sharing some Unity projects. So today's video is a little different. I did have a plan. I started out, wanted to do this old school technique where you kind of partially emboss and you use like a plate to do so, and I had die cut some chipboard as my plate, and well, you'll see things don't go as planned. I did not start over, and I do love the result. So this stamp set here is one of the itty bitty line that Unity has, and they're never small. This is a really big stamp. That is a card front size panel there, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and it's big enough to carry a card. So I pulled out my distress inks here. I kind of keep them organized by color family, oranges and yellows in one, like reds in another, and I keep the little foams underneath. So I used, I think it's squeezed lemonade, whatever the honey is, and I don't really know. I guess I should learn to write stuff like that down, but I started out by blending here with the yellow, and this is Bristol Smooth Cardstock. I don't always use that. I wanted a really nice, beautiful blend, and I mean, it worked, but you could get the same result with really any cardstock. As long as you are putting enough ink down, you can blend on anything. It might just take a little bit more time. This Bristol Smooth does make it easier to blend, but the colors are not nearly as vibrant on this as they are on other cardstocks, in my opinion. So I went all the way out to this burgundy color. I forget what this one is, but I went around the edges and then, into a red, and then to kind of an orangey yellow, and then to a yellow. Because I want the gradient, I wanted the center to appear to be super bright and like highlight the sentiment really well. So then I try to darken up the edges, like I said, using this Bristol Smooth. It's not, the colors aren't as vibrant, so I wasn't getting the contrast that I was really looking for. So what I did is I pulled out a blue, and blue and red make purple, which is a super deep color to add, and you can see here the difference that it makes in just adding that little bit of blue to my ink blended panel. I did have a couple of pieces of washi tape on my fingers to help keep them out of the ink, but because this is Bristol Smooth, the ink stays on top, and I was still getting fingerprints. My fingers are still covered in ink, and I washed them several times now. There was so much ink. But in the end, I did get a really beautiful blend, and that's what I was going for here. And like I said, I wanted that center to be bright and highlight my sentiment, because this card is centered around that sentiment. There are no images on here, excluding the little whiskey shot glasses that are in that sentiment. So here I chose to dry my panel. I just held it down with a little poker tool and dried it. Because that ink sits on top, it does take a little longer to dry, and I wanted to get my project done. I don't have all sorts of time to craft. So this is a newer to me embossing folder here. It's by Cartabella, and what I did is I lined up my panel so it was straight in there, and then added little tiny pieces of purple tape. And here is the technique that should have worked, and I know I could make it work now. But I had die cut that circle. So in theory, and how this usually works, is the center would not emboss because there is no pressure there. But that is a really deep embossing folder, so it embossed anyway, right over the sentiment. I was really disappointed, and I almost started over so that I could really show the technique that I wanted to show. But like I said, I really liked this panel, so I just kept going. In the end, I think the card turned out beautiful. So sometimes things don't always work out as planned, but you end up with a beautiful product anyway. So I mounted this on a piece of black cardstock from my stash. It's really thin, cheap cardstock from somewhere. When I layer, I usually use some cheaper stuff. And then I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do here. I knew I wanted to cover those shot glasses, so I thought, well, maybe these like drops would be cool. But then I pulled out this sequin mix here, and it had like gold and burgundy, and it was just perfect for this. It just this card does not say anything about fall, but these are definitely fall colors. So I mean, I don't think you have to give a card like this in the fall, but you could definitely give it during the fall. So I added those sequins kind of trailing from the top corner to the bottom, and then I used my clear Nuvo drops to oh, and I squeezed a little just to make sure that I didn't get any like splatters. And then I went over the shot glasses, and then I did add, and that will dry clear even though it's like milky, but I did add a few drops amongst my sequins just to add a little more fun and tie that in. That is my card. That's it. There is no more to this one. Oh, I tapped it out just to make sure that those would dry flat. See? Just simple. I adhered it to a card base, top folding, A2 size card base. I make these with some inexpensive Michaels cardstock, the really thick one that they have. And when I cut the panels, I made sure that there was a little white border around the edge. So here's some close-up still shots of some details on the cards. You can see that beautiful ink blend and the glow inside the inner part of the sentiment. I'd love to hear what you think. Do you just roll with it when things don't work very well? And please check out Unity Stamps. They are a great little company. They have some beautiful things. And click on the link to my blog post where you can leave a comment for a chance to win some great goodies by Unity. As always, give cards generously. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day. Bye now.